It's back and bigger than ever. It's the unofficial 40 from Soonerscoop.com. Now, here's the entire Sooner Scoop crew. Carrie, Josh, Eddie, and Bob.
All right, welcome back. It is another edition of the Unofficial 40 podcast. The entire crew is here, and I'm kind of excited about this podcast. We had a lot of stuff to talk about. By the way, real quick note for everybody. The Sooner Scoop store is going to be fully stocked by the end of today, Wednesday. We've got a big order in, so all of our stuff, the wagon, the retro helmet, the Lindsay Street, we will have full sizes from small to XXX in stock by tomorrow morning. And we've also got 20% off right now using the code SCOOP20. Eddie has been a model. He's had a quite successful first
Add it to the
modeling
resume.
campaign.
Well, that wasn't my first modeling campaign.
Influencer of the year.
Influencer of the year thing, yeah.
But even before that, I did some modeling when I was younger as a child.
Really?
Right.
Let's get into this.
Well, I mean, it was
Sears
I don't even
catalog.
remember what it was at. It was at a place in Oklahoma City.
You just went to Olin Mills.
And I walked down this thing and they were like, "We'd love to have you. We want you to sign a contract." And I didn't do it because I was playing baseball at a time.
Is this where you went to a model hunt day at Crossroads Mall?
No, they came and found me, and then I did this little thing down the runway, and they came back. They were like, "We'd love to sign you," and I couldn't do it. I had other extracurricular activities at the time.
We have been buzzing.
Sliding doors moment.
I think I probably.
Sliding doors moment.
I mean,
for Eddie.
I definitely probably avoided being child raped and trafficked as a.
Whoa! I wasn't going.
I mean,
I'm just using the word trafficked.
Well, the guy that did it, his name was Jeffrey. Looking back on it, and I kind of wonder, was that Jeffrey Epstein? But probably not.
And that's how we start.
But that is a true story. I did do that. My mom could back me up on that.
We have been buzzing this morning. I think we've on several occasions expressed
It's the holiday season.
Expressed our love for Crossroads Mall back in the day, and we mentioned I wanted to make the hat wall again from the old Athletic Village, Olympic Village,
which was always awesome walking into.
Right, but Eddie just informed us of something amazing this morning.
Take it in.
Potentially amazing.
Well, there's a semi-pro league coming to Oklahoma City, the Oklahoma City Wranglers, and they are going to be playing their home games at Crossroads Mall this year. They're building an 8,400-seat stadium out there. I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
Is it in the parking lot? Or
I think so. It's going to be open air.
The mall?
No, it's not inside the mall. It's outside the mall. It's on the southern, I think just in the big parking lot.
I know. I mean,
that
it's
backs up to the, what is that? The movie theater in the Texas Roadhouse.
Okay, yeah.
In between that and the mall.
Isn't that all curvy though?
Yeah, it is.
I have no idea.
It is.
Hilly? I mean, it's weird. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
maybe the old Crown on Owen Field, when you couldn't see when you were on one side, you could barely see the heads of the guys on the other side.
That'd be amazing if they did that. Yeah, they're having it's a professional spring league. I don't know who they're playing and stuff like that, but it's part of the UFL. I don't know. Is that the United Football League? Is that what that stands for, I guess?
I mean, with all the overflow of players from the XFL and the USFL, I mean, how could it not be awesome?
I think it's a 20-year agreement to build the stadium. I don't know how that works, though. I don't know who's funding it and stuff like that.
That league will not last more than 2 years. You can make it 100-year all you want.
Maybe they'll take down the NFL.
The other thing that's awesome happening in the office right now is six-man football in the state of Texas.
You watching it, Josh?
Is on.
Yeah, Benjamin and Lorraine.
3 touchdowns in the first 3 minutes. There's only 10-minute quarters.
The 1A state championship.
I mean, towns are shrinking to the size. 8-man is there's too many people. We can't even do 8-man football.
Texas has always played 6-man.
Have they?
I think it's...
So when Oklahoma did 3-on-3 basketball.
Oh, with the women's teams and stuff?
You played defense or you played offense. Yep. Yeah.
I think that they...
Duncan was one of the last schools that hung on to that.
I never realized that was even a thing. I think I was too young to... It stopped in the mid-'90s, though, didn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that was right after when I was in high school, they were still doing it. Yeah.
Or I was going to say, I don't even remember that.
Yeah.
It was wild. I mean,
I've heard the stories from Barry.
Yeah.
That's how I know of it.
So, yeah, it was like you only stayed on one half of the court. You either played defense or you played offense. So, all right. So, getting down to it, we got all kinds of stuff going on. Transfer portal is out there. We've been tracking that. We got some potential basketball arena stuff to talk about that's flown around out there, which
I did almost hit the lottery coming down to Norman today. I hit 5 consecutive green lights on Lindsay Street from Elm to Jenkins, which I truly,
don't believe it.
As many times as I've gone down, I don't know if I've ever done it.
I don't think that's ever happened.
Like I went.
Do you just come that way just to go by the football stadium?
Yeah, just see what's going on. just see what's happening.
I was gonna say that is such an inefficient way to get here.
Well, I was gonna get down here at like 10:30, and I was like, well, I'll just run by the stadium real quick and see what's happening. See if they need my help with anything.
Yeah.
And then I come back up Jenkins.
They're taking their
Corner.
finals.
I mean, I could see you needing to check in on campus since you got left off of the 50, greatest influencers in Oklahoma City.
Well, it's most influential.
Okay.
Or powerful, I think was the word. Most powerful 50.
I meant to
I
tell
only
you
want to
this.
get on the as long as I get on the Friday paper and their installment of the 50, I don't care.
I wanted to tell you that we declined to buy the full page ad in that, and that's why you didn't make it.
Well, maybe we need to revisit that next year in 2023.
Revisit that policy.
It would be very important. It's very important to me to get
We
on
have
that list.
construction crews coming next week, so we gotta save some money.
There wasn't a lot of people in the R's.
Well, I saw Mr. Colorado State. The Radosevich family has a new college football team.
Yeah, we're Colorado State people now. We're gonna have to get up to Fort Collins. Trevor Radosevich, the kid from where was he at?
Penn
Or
Yale?
Yeah, no, he was at Penn. He was at Penn
Penn,
University, headed to play for Colorado State. I don't think Oklahoma ever rattled the cages there.
Let me throw this out there. Okay, so the big news out there, they get the McCullough brothers, one of the linebacker from Indiana. Josh, how high is the Indiana transfer McCullough on the transfer portal scale to you?
I put it in these terms. I think he's the best front 7 defender in the portal.
Yes.
Like that's how special that dude is. I mean,
I feel like it's gone under the radar to a certain extent. Maybe not to Oklahoma, or maybe not like nationally with people that pay attention to the portal, but just a generic Oklahoma fan looks at it and goes, "Oh, this kid from Indiana." I feel like it's been undersold a little bit just how important that is. I think the diehards, obviously understand.
Yeah, I agree completely. It shocks me that it's not. And I mean, I know obviously there's a lot going on. I mean, you've obviously had the Mike Leach story, and there's a lot to talk about in college football right now in a time when usually the portal and things like this would dominate the storylines. But again, guys, this is a player that starts day one. Like I don't have any doubt he will be on the field, in the season opener, probably probably on the first snap. Like he's that kind of talent. And he's a kid, like I talked about last week, we've seen since he was a sophomore, and you were like, this kid's special. I don't know what he's going to be yet, because we saw him when he was still so young, and he was kind of long and lanky. He was trying to be a safety. And I was like, I don't think you're a safety, but I know you're good, whatever you're going to be. Yeah, exactly. So he is just clearly a talented guy, and I think it's one of those things where, I used to talk about it all the time with, and I'm probably the last guy I remember talking about this was Raleek Brown, where I would say, this guy's talented, but it's going to come down to how creative your offensive, your play calling is, your offensive design is. And under Lincoln Riley, you had all these guys that flourished because he was creative. Well, you got Brent Venables. Like, as a defensive mind, it doesn't get much more creative, and he's going to find all sorts of unique ways to use this guy. And I know, there have been comparisons from people inside that building that have some familiarity with Isaiah Simmons. Mm-hmm. Now, I think that's a lot to lay at a guy's feet, but if people that were around Isaiah are willing to say that tells you how much they think of this guy.
Physically, you see 6'5", what is it? He's listed at like 6'5", 230. Physically, they haven't had guys that move like that around there in a while, it seems like.
No, I mean, like, guys, my guess, and I think we all probably agree, is he'll start out at Cheetah. And you think about as well as Deshaun White played last year. I mean, no slight to Deshaun. He was probably OU's most consistent defender last year.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I mean, this guy takes you to a different level. He can do stuff Deshaun just can't do. I mean, this is a guy that can come up and play over a tight end and like has a reasonable expectation of winning. One of the first clips I saw of him was the Michigan State game last year, and he literally just sheds a tight end, steps inside of him, and makes a stop on the goal line for Indiana. You know, I think they ended up making the stop on 3 downs and forcing the Michigan State field goal. So like this is a guy that can do a lot of stuff, but like I said, is athletic enough to, of a couple of years ago, thought he might be a safety. I mean, he's not going to be like a 4-3 guy that can go run with anybody out there, but he can absolutely cover a tight end up the seam.
Yeah, you look at Deshaun White, he adapted into the spot. McCullough is made for this spot. There's going to be no like thinking about how am I going to make this work. I mean, this is the spot that he's gonna play. And I want to talk about Day for just a little bit too. With Brandon Hall, Jay Valai both going to visit him last week, do we have an idea of what position in the secondary Day would be looking to play yet?
My guess is safety, and that's just because I think. Again, you can see it in the pictures with him and Deshaun next to each other. He's not as big. He's plenty big. Don't get me wrong. Like, he's not like a little undersized guy or anything. He's a big dude in his own right. But I would think safety. And guys, there's no reason to think that like he might not grow into that Cheetah role, in a couple of years. Like that's absolutely possible. But he's played some corner. He's played in the box some at St. Joseph there in South Bend. I mean, he's done a lot of different stuff. And I think, again, he is a versatile tool that we're seeing more and more of, where with the Grinch model, we knew like, okay, this guy's a corner because of his height and weight. This guy's like, there wasn't much doubt. There wasn't a lot of ambiguity from guy to guy. Here, there is like, okay, like Eric McCarty's a good example. Eric McCarty could play several different positions, and I'm very interested to see where that goes. I think he's probably a safety or a Cheetah, but he's a bigger guy than people think. Like, if you told me in 3 years he's a linebacker, that wouldn't stun me. Like, I think that's entirely possible. So I think they are a little more willing to let guys become whatever they're going to be and let them work into roles a little bit. So, but I expect safety is where he'll start. And I think his coverage skills and I've got to finish his breakdown of his video. It's just been a crazy week. But I think he brings a lot of unique stuff and a lot of versatility. I know he gets overlooked a little bit because of his brother being a little more highly ranked out of high school and being, a guy that's already had some college success. But Day is a good land. I mean, I think he's a guy. He's not like an add-on. Like OU would have taken him either way.
By the way, I'm just going to tell you now, I'm going to be so distracted during this podcast because
you love the 6-man?
This 6-man shit is insane. Like, the sidelines aren't the sidelines. There's a goalpost in the end zone. Like, it's unbelievable. They don't even put the ball on the hash marks because there is no hash. There's no hash. Like,
they're playing between the hashes.
It's to the side of the hash. Well, there's NFL hashes.
Yeah, they're like standing on the field.
Yeah,
it's amazing. It's the best.
It is in the center.
That's a false start. Can't do that, kid.
This is blowing my mind.
That's why, like, the final scores for these games are like
in the 80s.
Oh yeah, it's like 85, 82,
and they showed a wide shot of the stadium, like from above. I guarantee that's the entire town. The entire towns for both sides are at that.
If you're a criminal,
no one in those. I was
if you're a criminal living in Texas right now,
Benjamin or Lorraine, you will get away with it.
If you are a petty thief in anywhere in these towns, like, and you're not working today, but that's the thing. People love Texas high school football so much. Even the criminals from these towns are at the game.
Yeah, so nobody's going to rob anybody.
They're just pickpocketing people at Jerry World. Like, that's just all that's happening.
They're in the big city.
Guys, this is something we've never talked about in this podcast, and it's always bothered me. And I get things evolve, things change. why the hell was there ever a field goal post in the middle of the football field? Like, why was that not immediately like, this feels like a problem? Like, we feel like a receiver is going to run a literal post route and just kill himself on that post. Like, because there was no padding. Like, they weren't thinking about that crap. Like, you better avoid that post or you're going to get, back then your bell rung, which basically means a concussion that you're bleeding from your ears.
I'm not kidding. I guarantee. This would be my guess, is that the sports writers told the NFL or the football, basically, it's too confusing. We want to be able to say a guy kicked a 30-yard field goal or a 35-yard field goal, not have to add on 10 and put it in the back of the end zone. Like, I bet they were doing it for convenience of stat keeping and media. Which,
God, the media sucks.
But no, I mean, that's just the time. I mean, like, it's just like with early college football. Like, people were dying all the time playing college football. And it's just like, it was a time when you were playing a game. They didn't pay them very much, and they were basically gladiators. I mean, it basically sports were built out of, the Romans and gladiators and all that. Like, they're combatants. They're not humans.
As Paul Brown, this is from Pro Football Hall of Fame. As Paul Brown told Sports Illustrated in 1974, the whole end zone is open for pass patterns now. The goalposts were, in effect, another safety man. When you got inside the 20, you couldn't run or pass around them, and it was hard to punt or pass coming out of the end zone. So maybe that's the reason they moved them?
Because they wanted to open up the game.
They wanted to open up the game?
Yeah.
But I still, that doesn't answer why they were
there
in
the first place. Yeah.
Interesting.
Can you imagine, like, these plays now that we see where these mobile quarterbacks are running around and then they drop a little dime in the back of the end zone to somebody that's just kind of worked himself free. Like, and all of a sudden it goes off the crossbar, like it just hits and flies somewhere. Now, would that be was that live action? Like, if you threw a pass and hit that bar, would that be open for an interception? Or
they probably didn't throw the ball very often back then either, though, especially when you got to the goal line. Now, I did find it says the structure and the placement of the goalpost in 1892, when the game was invented, it just came directly from rugby.
Okay.
Are the rugby?
Oh, okay.
Is the rugby goalpost in the front? I guess it is, isn't it?
Yeah, because it's, well,
I mean, you can't go behind it.
In rugby, it's just two lines that go up. There's not a crossbar, I don't think.
There is. It's more like there is a crossbar, but there are two lines that go up. Like, it's just like it's like a giant H.
Yes, thank you. I was trying to think how to describe it. Yes, an H.
And it is at the front.
And what is the 6 man? Is it 80-yard field?
From goalpost to goalpost?
Yeah.
I think they still play 100, but it's a smaller width of the field.
Yeah. Because
no, it's 80 by 40 is what I just looked up under UIL Texas.
Okay.
That makes a lot of sense.
Well, that's the history of
all right.
That's the history of football segment.
Guys,
for people that care about the portal?
People are taking notes at home.
Well, the 6 man is all today, right? And then it's over?
Yeah, there's 2 divisions for each class. So this is Division 1 6 man, Division 2 6 man's at like 3, and then 2A Division 1 is tonight, and then 2A, 3A, 3A, 4A, 4A, 5A.
Throw it over your head.
5A, 6A, 6A.
By the way,
the greatest weekend in high school sports.
Yeah,
what's happening in Dallas.
Okay,
weekend.
so I did not see it. I know you guys were watching it. What happened to Jackson Arnold in the semifinals? What happened to Denton?
They just got run over by a better set of athletes. I mean, like, and that's for all those that don't know. I had every intention of being at that game. We had a problem with the media credentialing that it just happens sometimes, and it's the way it goes. And it sucks. I'm really pissed I wasn't there.
It's a lottery, right? A lottery system where
it came down to it, and again, and part of it is me because I waited later, and then it became that way. So that if I would have done it like Sunday, I'd have probably been fine. So it was my fault. Yeah, no, that's absolutely part of the equation. Yeah, but I've never had that be an issue on like a Tuesday. Like I looked and I was like, oh shit, and so then I kind of went through it, and it was like just kind of crossing your fingers and it just doesn't go your way. So that's the way it is. But no, for what I saw, DeSoto was just able to take over that game offensively because they could keep Jackson Arnold off the field. They could run and just pound Guyer to death with their run game. And then it was hard for Guyer to ever get into an offensive rhythm, really. And especially when, again, Jackson Arnold's a great player. Peyton Bowen's a great player. I know everybody loves the Landon Sides kid, and he's a very good player. But it's a little different when you're facing guys that are going to go play at U of H and going to go play at DeSoto's stocked with Division I athletes. Like that, some of the stuff that you can get away with against teams that are more your equal and you have these two incredible players, it gets balanced out a little bit. Like Jackson Arnold, Peyton Bowen are still probably the two best players on that field, but the next 12 all play for DeSoto.
Yeah, I wish I would have seen that game because just seeing Denton and how big they were, like compared to Allen, like that was a joke. Like it's interesting that a team could just bully them a little bit. So they had a few big bodies. Like at tackle, they were really big. Inside, they really weren't. And then when you throw in, like I said, DeSoto always has these guys that are like 5'11", 6 foot, and they're about 275 pounds on the inside. But man, they can move. Like they're just jumping around and they're shooting into gaps and they're just being a problem. And that was the problem. Like Guyer just never could hit a rhythm. They're late in the third, going into the fourth. It looked like Guyer had a chance to bring it to a one-score game, and it just never really happened. And then eventually they just kind of lost the momentum. Is there anybody any commitments still playing for state championships that we know of?
I think almost everybody's done outside of Texas.
Texas always
like
goes
California
last,
wrapped up last
basically.
week. Florida's done.
Yeah, I don't – because Texas is always the one that goes the longest.
Yeah. Josh Bates' season's over in Colorado, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they got knocked out in the semis.
Yep.
There's no like Kip Lewis playing.
Carthage is playing.
Are they playing?
That's one of my favorite parts about this weekend is like all of the schools that are there. It's kind of like Oklahoma a little bit, but you have your Carthage. I feel like Mart is always in 2A.
Yes, Mart's a monster.
Gunter, Refugio.
Yes. Yep.
Franklin and Brock. I feel like Franklin and Brock play every season in the state championship game.
Now, I want to tell you guys, do you know how you say, and I'm going to say it wrong just so we get it right, Refugio?
No.
Is it
It's Refurio.
What?
Furio?
Yes.
Right,
I don't understand why or how, but that's Refurio.
Well, they're never going to get that
for those that don't
me.
know, it's Refugio, and somehow that's Refurio. I don't understand it. I'm sure there's some easy explanation.
The G is just silent. I mean, that's.
But you like
But
add
it's
an
an
R.
R.
But there's an
Like
R.
it becomes an R. It's not like Refugio. It's like Refurio. Like it's weird.
Hey,
it's one of those ones like Miami that like people
just
from
know how
outside
to-
the state would never. Yeah,
You just
never
know how to pronounce it if you're from that part of the area.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny.
Because I drive past the exit for it on 45 about 37 times a year.
So why doesn't Texas call Paris something weird? Because like we have Prague, it's not Prague.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, there might be some people that pronounce it Prague up there. I don't know.
Yeah.
Call it like.
No,
Paris or
I mean, as much time as I spent there covering Stephen Good, it's definitely Paris.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so let's get back to recruiting portal. What is out there just portal-wise? We've been kind of monitoring, and Bob, you can jump in here, but what is out there portal-wise? And I know there's been some guys that have kind of jumped off the list and committed elsewhere, but what's out there right now?
What it feels like, I'll let Josh talk about a certain defensive lineman here in a second. It feels that at receiver they're not getting any bites.
Yeah.
It feels like, okay, that didn't work. Now we've got to go this way. And we knew coming in how big of a point of emphasis that position was going to be, and it still doesn't seem like anything's materializing heading into this week. And I don't know if that's why they went back to Chance Fitzgerald and offered him for the 2023 class there on Monday. Taylor Wines teammate who just showed up for an official visit, as you brought up, John. Like, why couldn't you just bring them in together? Boy, that would have been really easy to try to get the ball rolling there. But it just seems like as the days have gone on, the receiver position, they're not getting the hits just yet. But none of those guys have committed either. So it just feels like you're on the outside looking in, but there's nothing still official. Now we knew defensive line was going to be a major position. Just even before the portal, we knew they would have to stock up there. And it sounds like it could be a very familiar name that might come to the other side of Bedlam.
Yeah, I mean, guys, we were talking about it before we got started. But I mean, this would be fairly unprecedented if Oklahoma can get Trace Ford to make the move from Stillwater to Norman. I mean, that would be – and I know, for those that don't know or do follow it, his mother is not just like, oh, she likes Oklahoma State because her son goes there. She loves Oklahoma State. So I had a chance to talk with Trace. That story will come out today. It was supposed to be yesterday, and it just didn't happen. But talking to him, I got the impression, Miguel Chavis has come by, visited his family. Really, from what I can tell, really knocked it out of the park. They loved what they heard. Mom really responded well to him. Trace, like I was telling you guys, I'm expecting him on campus either today or tomorrow, Wednesday or Thursday, depending on when you're listening in the week. And I kind of got the feeling like I'm going to give some other schools a look and see what happens, but it just feels like, I don't know, like I always got the impression Trace liked Oklahoma back during his recruitment and was kind of hoping they would get involved. They never really did. He goes to Oklahoma State, obviously starts off really well. I think it's going to come down to USC, Auburn, and Oklahoma. Now, in both of those situations, he's got to go a long ways from home. Maybe he's okay with that now. Maybe, like I said, his family and he are close. I think it helps Oklahoma. But it's going to be interesting. Like I said, I'm expecting him to go to USC this weekend, take a visit out there, and then I don't get the impression that he's got to see a lot more beyond that. He may take one more visit. He mentioned Ole Miss as a school that was kind of showing some interest. So a lot of the usual suspects in the portal are showing up in this conversation. But I like where Oklahoma is. I'm not convinced where Oklahoma is.
Bob, it's kind of interesting. We talked about this morning that if USC is in play, he's going to be recruited by the same guys and almost purely the same, somewhat.
A little bit.
Lincoln Riley and Alex Grinch.
Grinch wasn't there.
You're not good enough for us.
Grinch wasn't there yet, though. Grinch wasn't there yet.
Okay, that's fair.
But Lincoln was, and Lincoln was calling the shots.
That's fair.
Yes. It does feel a little weird.
It seems like
USC would be in the running.
Over by him
so
once.
Calvin Thibodeau gets the blame then, and not.
No, we won't.
Ruffin.
We won't.
It'd be Ruffin,
we'll blame
right?
Ruffin
and Mike, because they were the guys at that.
Okay,
point.
then I that's probably fair. I wanted to take a shot, and it's like I sent the bullet and it got sent right back at me.
We try every week to take a shot against USC, and it never.
I swear
pans
it's
out.
not personal. I don't know. It's not like the guy blocked me on Twitter.
Every week we try and fail in connecting the dots to shit
now,
on
Josh,
USC.
Super Washington is from Muleshoe. Never forget.
That's
Never
right.
Forget.
Josh, I don't know if you approached that. I don't even know how you kind of would, and kind of a joking manner. Did he say anything about being bitter about the first time around, or does that even play? Or is that more just like that's fans remembering what happened 4 years ago?
I think that's fans more remembering. Like, I don't think Trace carries a lot of ill will about it, because I think in a lot of ways Trace wanted to go to Oklahoma State. Like, I think that was always a very meaningful offer to him. Now, again, do I think Oklahoma could have probably made it interesting? Yeah. I mean, it's Oklahoma. He's an in-state kid. Like, they do pretty well in those scenarios. I don't think there's going to be any animosity. But what the other side of that is there's this easy thought, well, okay, that staff knows him. No, they don't. Like, they never really recruited him. Nope. Even the people that had a relationship with him, you guys mentioned Calvin Thibodeau, Mike Stoops, some of those guys that were involved. They just never offered him. they have no affiliation there.
Yeah.
And to kind of put a point on that, he visited SMU where Calvin Thibodeau is last week. So there is some relationship there, and it kind of like I said, he mentioned Oklahoma, he mentioned USC, mentioned Auburn, and mentioned Ole Miss, all 4 big programs, big Power 5, major conference schools, and then SMU. So it tells you where his relationship lied when he was at Oklahoma, or when Oklahoma was involved with him. So I think that's interesting.
How much of it?
But USC doesn't have this built-in knowledge of him that I think some people might assume.
How much of is there just simply a risk in taking Trace Ford? Or does it not matter because the numbers really don't matter this season? It's almost like you get a wild card option of bring him in, and I'm talking about physically with the injuries that he's had over the last. He's just had awful luck. It seems. I actually ran into him, during the Bedlam game this year, as he was walking back into the locker room. I don't know. It seems like it's easier to take him this year because you're not worried about numbers as much as you would be in other years. It's like it's almost a no-brainer to me why OU wouldn't just stack as many defensive linemen as possible this year.
Well, and I think it's an interesting effect because does taking a guy like Trace Ford allow you the ability to say, hey, Grayson Halton, we're going to slide you a little farther inside. We want you to be a super active defensive tackle for us. Does he give you the ability to bolster your defensive tackle room by adding a defensive end? I wonder a little bit about stuff like that because to me, there's no question. At end, they need an influx of top end talent, but their numbers aren't terrible at defensive end. They're not great, but they're not terrible. Defensive tackle is a freaking concern. That has to
even
be
for the bowl game. It's a major concern.
Yes. I mean, they're like Jacob Lacey. You want to, do you
Can you
want to
play
go?
now?
Yeah. No, I don't need to burn that last bit of eligibility I've got left. But no, I mean that really is the question. And again, we've talked about, guys, you look around, there's no D tackle in the portal that everybody's getting all excited about because those guys, if they're good enough, they stay where they are because they're at a great program and they're already getting NIL, or they're going to the NFL. It's really hard to rebuild yourself at that position through the portal. It just is.
And unfortunately, OU jumped on the first guy basically that went in the portal in Jacob Lacey. So.
Yeah, and at least Jacob Lacey's played at a high level, played a lot of games. There's something to it. But I mean, anybody expecting Jacob Lacey to come in and be a difference maker, I think you're kidding yourself.
I think the expectation is you just always get performance out of a guy like Jeffrey Johnson. He makes plays for you. He's not a superstar, but he's capable of going out there and not embarrassing you. By the way, I have the most important question for you, Josh, in this segment is, have you had a chance to try the New Orleans-style barbecue shrimp from Prime Shrimp?
The worst part about this timing is I'm literally having it for lunch. So in an hour from now, I could give you a review.
Right, can't wait.
Right now, we're just going to say it was outstanding.
We'll take a video review.
We don't lie on this show. Come on.
We'll take a video review.
Yeah, you're going to have to post about it. But no.
I love it. Sure.
Look, I mean, you've had the other Prime Shrimp, so have I. We've offered it to Eddie and Bob, but they're not shrimp people. Bob's definitely not a shrimp person, I don't think.
Grilled shrimp. Delicious.
Well, thanks for supporting our sponsor. You can grill this.
Yes. I've said that before on the pod. I was like, yes.
He just doesn't listen. He doesn't listen to you.
You can take it out and grill the shrimp.
Yes, absolutely.
So you would probably want to get a couple bags of the Simply shrimp. That's the unseasoned shrimp. But primeshrimp.com, Prime, shrimp.com. Use that promo code SoonerScoop, and it'll get you $20 off your first order. And they've got all kinds. I mean, since we've been with Prime Shrimp, and they've been with us on the podcast, they've come out with a couple of different flavors: the lemon and cracked pepper, and now the brand new New Orleans barbecue shrimp. And it is. I'm supposed to be getting mine. I haven't had a chance to try it yet, but I love any kind of barbecue, and this is a little spicy, but real easy, no mess, no fuss. You don't even have to thaw it out. You just boil up some water. In under 10 minutes, you got a restaurant-quality meal right there at home. Put it with some rice or some pasta, and great meal for at least a couple of people because those are pretty big bags. So primeshrimp.com. Use that promo code SoonerScoop and get $20 off of your first order. Okay. I think the thing that the portal that's taught us the most is, OU hasn't had any luck with wide receiver, and there's really not, just a. I mean, really, you're what you've got in the young guys is probably better than what you're going to get in the portal, and that's why, the Alton Tarbur transfer now looks, worse and worse because you thought he could be a guy, but you still have a Kelvin Gilliam who,
he's hurt.
Yeah, was hurt,
So.
but I'm talking about next year.
Yeah.
I mean, just toward the future, and he played a lot early, but then got banged up and then ended up hurt. I think all of us have. Grayson Halton, I mean, he's shown some flashes.
Yeah, he was one of the guys that got like I forgot
Future
what the
impact.
Future Impact, is that what it was called at the awards banquet? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Just like Kobe. Yep.
So, I mean, it's not – I would say it's a tougher go at wide receiver because you're losing Trayvon West, you're losing Brian Darby.
Right. It doesn't matter. Like, if you thought they didn't add a lot to the room, they weren't supposed to be gone yet, and you've got to get those numbers up.
Yeah, so, I mean, you've seen what is it right now? How many high school kids do they have committed at that position?
2.
Yeah.
2.
Just
Yeah,
so
after losing Anthony Evans, you only have 2.
Yep. And that's why we look at Chance Fitzgerald. I guess we'll go there, Josh. I know it happened Monday. The wheels turning yet?
He's been awfully quiet this week, which makes, and usually there's 2 ways that goes. I mean, there's no interest, and I don't think that's the case, or something's kind of up. And I think it's interesting how this plays kind of compared to the Micah T situation, which Oklahoma's been in home with him. Like that door hasn't quite shut, but until Micah comes down for a visit, you're just like, I don't know what to make of it. Like, I don't know if that's going to be real or not. And there was some belief that he was going to show up last weekend, and it didn't happen. So we will have to see if they can spark that this week. Like maybe he comes down. And to me, that's the question is Bob talked about the receiver situation in the portal not seeming it doesn't seem like they've made a big move for anybody yet. You're not hearing about, this guy's going to be on campus. And it may still work out fine. There are plenty of good receivers out there, and they're in on a bunch of them. I know the Xavier Guillory kid is talking about coming in this weekend for a visit. So that's all possible. I don't want to make it sound like, it's all negative, but I wonder if they're weighing, if they could get both Tees and Fitzgerald, do they choose to do that? Or, do we think we got a good chance at one of these guys out of the portal? Because obviously they need a few of these guys to help quickly. And do you feel like these are those kind of guys? Like Keon Brown, wouldn't shock me at all if Keon Brown's able to help early. That dude is a freakish athlete that maybe they could find a role for. Jaquez Petaway, his speed, it plays. There are reasons to think some of these young guys, but I don't know. And Fitzgerald's got a ton of speed too. So they're kind of interesting conversations to have.
It would seem like Oklahoma is a perfect option for a transfer or for a portal guy right now. You could step in and immediately play.
Problem is that they, the guys that you don't know about, they haven't really declared intentions to stay or leave or what. I mean,
yeah, and maybe that all shakes out after you find out what Marvin Mims is going to do.
But if you lose Marvin Mims and Drake Stoops, that's a lot of the room gone. You need difference makers all of a sudden.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And Theo Wee's already picking Missouri. I mean, he's not coming back this time from the portal.
Yeah, it is. And you wonder how Theo would feel about that if Marvin did leave. I almost think Theo leaving is as good an indication of what Marvin's going to do as anything else. Why leave if Marvin was going to leave and you'd have a chance to really, be one of the focal guys? You
remember how Brent phrased it. He left to become a starter. So however OU saw Theo, it wasn't as a starter in 2023.
I think everybody still feels pretty good about the Marvin Mims thing, but
right now I can
probably check back in on that.
I need to double check, but usually this time of year when finals are going on, everybody's got their draft grades back. Mm-hmm. So Marvin should know, especially, if you're considered like first, second, third, whatever. I mean, you should know. I mean, I would imagine that Marvin probably got like a 4th round grade, or I don't think they even do it by rounds. They just say you're a first rounder, or you're middle, or you're late.
Guys, the one that surprises me is DJ Graham. I kind of thought he'd be in there fairly quickly.
With the quickness, no.
The one that
he wasn't even dressing out the last couple of games, right?
I mean, I think they just said
he was there, but he wasn't like full pads or anything.
There's no way you can pick up the offense that fast.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe they feel pretty good about DJ at wide receiver. Who knows?
It's a legitimate question, and we just can't ask any questions.
And he's getting those reps right now. That, they're telling them how good he's going to be.
I would imagine that, and maybe this is like almost a tryout period. Like, let's see if this really works for you. I know it's, you've been practicing over the last couple of months, but maybe something changes. If you say DJ Graham, I say Corey Robertson.
Did you guys know that he's my biggest mystery of all?
How is he not in the portal yet? I figured that was I figured he would be, if it opened at 11 a.m. on, December whatever it was, he'd be in at 11:01.
And what I don't understand is with the defensive tackle position, how can he not make a difference? I watched him play last year. He flashed as much as any of the young guys a year ago. Isaiah and I would talk about him all the time, how he thought he was going to be a really good player here.
I almost wonder with what they've got left at defensive tackle with Jalen Redmond leaving, if they almost didn't go to Corey and look, we know you want to go in the portal. That's fine. This game, we need you, and you're going to get some snaps, and this could be your chance to put something on tape. You could do something here, because that's the only explanation for it. That's the only thing that makes sense, because everyone's read. I mean, Mom had some left. I mean, not stuff that you can walk back. Stuff that, I guess Latrell McCutcheon's family exists, so I guess you can move past it. But in general terms, you would think, that's a severing of they're not going to be working together anymore.
And the way Corey has embraced all the other portal entries, that's one.
Yeah, he's retweeted.
He's
I get everybody.
It.
Yeah.
Yep.
But the thing is, Josh, that would make sense what you said. Play in the bowl game, get some stuff on film before you go into the portal. What will probably happen is he won't even make the trip to Orlando. The way this season's gone with Corey Robertson.
I know, you can't really base a whole lot off of who traveled to Lubbock, because they do have a small locker room. It's kind of notoriously known that they don't travel a lot of guys out there. But I don't even remember seeing him at Bedlam.
No,
I haven't seen Corey Robertson.
As someone that does the COVID check with Eric and Ryan, it's no, that is a number 92. It's not something we've called all that often.
And usually I've noticed he's posting photos of himself in his car and stuff on game days. Just weird. Very weird.
He likes to listen to the game. He likes to listen to Toby. That's his preferred intake of OU football.
Yeah, you had the mass influx last week. We haven't had a person this week. I mean, you knew it would slow down. And it's kind of Brent, his words are coming true. It's we know who we have. The guys that are leaving are the ones that didn't do much or anything at all with the on-the-field product, and the guys that are going to be staying, those are the ones that all the fans are going to know.
Which is, I guess as overall it's pretty big positive that maybe there is a general feeling of within the program that everybody feels like they're on the same page and moving in the right direction. I think that more than anything, I was kind of wondering, if you would get a couple surprises.
Yep.
And maybe they still do after the bowl game.
Yeah, you still have time. It's the 30-day window is still there after the bowl game is over.
I think it's actually a 45-day window.
No, it's 45 total, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. That's what I mean.
30
That's what I meant.
and then 15 after spring.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, 45 total, 30 now, 15 later during the spring.
Right.
Yep. I got you.
So they'll have till January 3rd or whatever.
Yeah.
Or 2nd or what.
Well, everybody wants to get done by the 6th.
Another one of those, Kevin?
I'm going to the inaugural ball. I'm going to Kevin Stitt's inaugural ball, January 6th in Tulsa. That's what I was talking about.
Okay. All right. So portal news, it's out there. Just, stay tuned to Sooner Scoop. We'll keep you up to date. We'll continue to give you lists of what's happening there. I mean, that's a great resource if you're confused. I mean, just go to Sooner Scoop, go to the front page, or go to Crimson Corner.
There was is he a defensive lineman, the Dylan Wade kid from Tulsa, or is he an offensive lineman?
He's
offensive lineman.
Offensive lineman.
Okay.
Offer. Yep.
Interesting.
And if you look, every single school's offered him the last 24 hours, and that's
he's been on a run.
And that's sort of been the thing is you're not unearthing anything. Like, you look at these receivers, everyone's offering them, so you don't really have you're not going to be the easy favorite. You're going to have to work for them, and we'll just see which guys, when they make their initial pitch, there's some mutual interest, because that'd be another one. It's Dylan Wade would be nice, but every single school is coming for him. So what exactly is he looking for this second time?
All right, we still have a signing day to come. Still some really big moves to be made down the stretch. I think. Do we want to start with Peyton Bowen, Josh, or is there something else that's really out there that deserves to be talked about first?
There's been a forecast put in as well by Josh here in the last 24 hours.
Yep. I guess we could start there, because that's just kind of the most, that's the news people want to hear about, and that's Oklahoma. I put in a forecast yesterday afternoon for defensive end Cecilia Akana, and I know. Say defensive end, I always have to make the jokes, honestly. Just there's been some talk of cheetah and that kind of stuff. I don't see how that's possible. He looks like a guy that's going to be a 6'6", 260-pound defensive end. He's a big, long, athletic guy. And at 6'6" is strong, but 6'4", he's a big kid. But put in a forecast, talk to a few people. Cecilia's really quiet. He and I have talked some. It's been sporadic. I won't pretend like he's a guy that I've developed a good relationship with. We've spoken, but he's in Utah, not an area that I know a lot of people. So there's not some of the easy connections you can make with some kids. But in talking to some who do talk to him a lot, know him well, he's given some pretty strong hints that Oklahoma's in a really good spot right now, a week from signing day. So we'll see. I don't think to my knowledge, he has not informed Oklahoma, hey, I'm coming, or anything like that. I don't think it's that far down the tracks. And obviously there's still more in-home visits going on, but I really like what they've done here. Brent Venables has made him a focus since very early on upon his arrival at Oklahoma. And I think it's going to pay off for him the way I'm looking at it right now.
I just love that you love to say that name. It just seems like when you say that name, it's almost like
there's a lot of pride
proud of yourself.
Yep.
Yeah,
it is. You have to work to know that name. There are a lot of people that would stare at that dumbfounded, and I was one of them originally. But once you practice it enough, you're like, yeah, I got it now. That's it's not unlike McCuistion. People are like, how the hell? And Bob knows it. Eddie knows this life. People, they're like, oh, I got it right. They're excited when they actually know how to say your name properly.
I feel like it's a graduate program that I'm not qualified yet for.
By the way, Bob has it worse than everybody. He has a Z where you should never have a Z.
Correct. Because in Polish, the PR
is Polish, right?
Is silent, so it's Shabillo.
Really? That's the way that it should be pronounced?
Shabilwa.
Good Lord.
Really?
Shabilwa is how you're Bob Shabilwa.
Wow.
I think that's all I'm going to say
he's
now.
He's Robert Shabilwa.
I'm not even in the room, and Bob feels like a different person to me right now. Just hearing that, I'm like, he looks different somehow in my head, in my mental picture.
Polish.
You'll have to introduce him that way now in the franchise.
That's all I'm going to do.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to do.
Bob Shabilwa.
We're going to pay to have Kanye pronounce it, and then he's going to do all the intros.
And see, that's the thing that sucks is even though you've Americanized it so people could possibly spell it, there's no way in hell that they could spell it. You could stump every spelling bee contestant alive if you asked them to spell Przbillo.
Trying to find that vowel. Good luck to you.
All right, so
Peyton Bowen?
Cecilia
Akana?
Cecilia Akana.
Did I do it? Just
Yeah,
right there,
you
right
did.
then and there.
I think Josh is the expert.
Josh, is he someone that can put on like 20 pounds and you're not worried about it? Or is there a concern as to what position he could end up being?
I honestly think that plays pretty well to his game because, like, he is in a lot of ways kind of like a Colton Vasek type in certain, because he's more about being powerful with his hands and really strong. He's a point of attack guy. He's not like, oh, I'm going to turn the edge and I'm 4'4". Like that, I think just getting bigger and putting more mass on his body is only going to make him better. Like I don't think it's gonna, because that's not what his game is built around. You know, we see these guys all the time that we're like, well, you know, if you'll put 20 pounds on him, well, that's cool, but he's a 210-pound defensive end, and like his whole game is running around the corner. Like you're taking something away from him. I don't think you're hurting Tassili Akana to put some weight on him, let him get stronger, work with Jerry Schmidt. I think he'd be an outstanding end, especially in this scheme. He makes a lot of sense to me.
All right, I think everybody's itching to get to Peyton Bowen now. By the way, before we do that, Dead Soxy, DeadSoxy.com. Go check them out. Great socks. If you, I better check their website about holiday gifts. But you know what? Just get them. Tell somebody they're getting Dead Soxy for Christmas if they don't come, and they'll be happy. But a lot of great packs, different types of packs that you can get on the website, and they've got a lot of big stuff coming, and got some stuff coming on the website soon that's going to be pretty cool. But in the meantime, go get you some really good socks. DeadSoxy.com, whether it's the Crimson and Cream 4-pack or just some boardrooms, or even get the no-shows for being around the house if it's getting a little cold outside. So maybe the no-shows won't be worn all that much outside. But DeadSoxy.com, great friends of the program, DeadSoxy. Use that promo code SCOOP and get 25% off your entire order. So can't thank them enough. And as always, remember, guys, stay soxy. Okay, so Peyton Bowen, announcement coming up. We were talking before the pod, like, how is this going to go down? Is it going to be like a 24/7 thing? Is it going to be ESPN thing?
Or if he even makes an announcement.
Or if he makes
like, he might not even make an announcement. He might just sign
letter of intent.
Everything's on the table.
I mean, I would think that Denton will have a signing day ceremony.
No, they
right?
will. Yeah, they have like a big blowout thing, if I remember correctly.
Which
like
a lot of schools are doing.
Yeah,
now,
they have
for
like 13 or 14 kids.
Yeah,
and it is all sports.
I remember when Drake and Isaac committed, like they did all the sports, and they, you know, even the female, everybody's getting a scholarship somewhere. They recognize them. I think Westmore does that now too.
Oh, I think every school.
Yeah,
basically.
At least ones that I'm just thinking of places I've been to recently. But you know, and I would say this. Here's a little thing for recruits. I know they're not really listening to the unofficial 40, but like to me, I would like. I'll offer this to Peyton Bowen if he's listening. Like, we'll come up and stream your announcement. We don't know where you're going to go, but stream it on your social media page. Like, it's funny to me, like, that you let other people do it for you when in the age of NIL, you need to be building your social media pages. Like, and you could do that with your announcements. It just doesn't make any sense. I think athletes should be doing that more. I mean, God, we'd love to help people nearby do that. I mean, we can't do 50 of them in a day, but yeah, if you got a big announcement you want to make, and I don't know why you don't stream it on your own social media outlets. And I would imagine you'll probably start to see some of these NIL companies like in the state of Oklahoma now that you can be a high schooler and do that. I think you've been able to do it in Texas. No, you haven't been able to do it in Texas, right?
I
thought
that they were one of the first ones that said that you could.
But wasn't that what chased Connor or Ewers to Ohio State?
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
It?
You're right. It was California and Ohio maybe that were the first ones to really jump in on it.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it didn't matter in Ohio
because there's 24 states now that have it.
There was some type of stipulation that made Ewers go do it because he was obviously graduating high school,
and he had that
early
kombucha deal.
Yeah,
but he couldn't do it if he was still in
school
in
high school. In high school, if he was still in high school.
Yeah. So no, but Peyton Bowen, we don't know what his announcement is going to be. If it's going to be public, if it's going to be televised, whatever. But Josh, I mean, I'll just throw it to you. What's the feeling right now?
I put something up in Woke, and then actually heard back pretty quickly from some other people that, hey, my initial understanding was that Oklahoma was going to be the second to last in home. But as I talked to a few people, it sounded like I actually had that in reverse, and I got that from some of my sources as well as some of the Notre Dame side of things that kind of made it sound like what's going to actually happen is Oregon's going to be in home tonight. And Oregon's really trying to make a run here late at Peyton Bowen, and obviously everyone knows, their NIL capabilities, I'm sure, are not unimpressive. So they're trying to make a run. I really don't think it's going to become anything, but in these situations, man, you never want to say anything. There's a part of me that wonders if Oregon might end up being the bigger threat down the stretch to Oklahoma than Notre Dame. That's kind of where I'm at now. Notre Dame is going to have an in-home with him, with Marcus Freeman, the whole crew. They're going to throw everything they've got at him on Thursday night. And then I am told Oklahoma will get the last in-home visit. Now, when exactly that is going to be a little bit interesting, and it's kind of part of some other things I'm kind of chasing on this Peyton Bowen situation. But again, for Oklahoma to not be the school he's committed to and get the last in-home, that's usually a huge indicator of what's happening. So I think it's a really good sign for Oklahoma. I think they've done unbelievable work. Guys, I mean, if you would have, when they got involved in January and first brought him down, I thought, well, this is just a tremendous waste of time. This kid's going to go to Notre Dame. And then as you heard about his relationship with Marcus Freeman and his family's relationship, and you're just like, this is just never going to happen. But they have stayed in it. They fought from beginning to end. And I think, again, another indicator that you kind of have to look at, you're not seeing OU make a bunch of safety offers. Like we talked about the offer to Chance Fitzgerald, the wide receiver. You're not seeing that at safety. They're not going crazy or doing anything wild. They've had some chances, guys like Ranton Fontenette and some other safeties they could have gone after. They chose not to. And I think that is telling of where they see things right now.
I had a buddy the other day just kind of mention in passing, it's like this staff has kind of recruited their ass off here over the last couple months. And especially when you throw in the fact that, on the field wasn't terribly great. If, not only could Colton Vasek truly be the only guy out of this group that you really go, yeah, you wish you would have had him, but then you rebound and you get Akana, you're able to close with Peyton Bowen, able to get a couple more guys and then see what they do in the portal. It's really kind of, I don't know. It's kind of amazing in a way that they've been able to salvage this thing so well.
For your first full class, if OU fans were told, hey, you're going to get a couple of, top 50 defenders, you're going to sign the best defensive class OU signed in 15 years, and you're still going to get a 5-star quarterback, what are we talking about? Yes. Every OU fan would have signed off on that. And for them to do it while going 6-6, you're like, man, if they can just figure this out on the field and get all their ducks in a row, which you talk to people and there is a steadfast confidence. You don't hear any, we've got there's no reinventing the wheel. That's not what I get. So I think it's really interesting to hear all of that. And then if you get to go out and you put out even 9-3, 10-2 next year, just show progress. I think everybody's like, okay. And then, you look at the in-state defensive line class. I mean, if you just cleaned up in state with Danny Okoye, Zadavian Sims, and, if you do or don't want to include David Stone in that conversation, however you want to look at him, I mean, that's the best defensive line class OU would have signed in a long time, just with those three right there. Because Okoye is going to end up a top 100 guy. People just need to get their minds right about that. That is coming.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
So there is, two top 100 guys that were, born and raised in the state of Oklahoma. That's just something you have to take advantage of. You can't screw around with that.
And then still kicking tires with David Hicks, or do you think that one's really starting to fall?
No, I believe, I'm trying to remember the date. It's tonight or tomorrow night. All these in-home visits run together. They'll be in-home with Hicks. And it'll be Venables, Todd Bates. They're going to give the full pitch. Now, again, they're coming in on Wednesday, Thursday. I think we can recognize that Oklahoma is the outsider on this right now. It sounds like right now the momentum's kind of with Oregon. Like maybe they're making a real run. So maybe OU fans won't have to watch him go to Texas A&M. I don't know if that makes it better or worse. But I would say OU's probably the third most likely right now. There's been some talk that maybe he would sneak up to campus. I don't think that's going to happen. So, and if not, then I don't see how that comes together. And it just sounds like, A&M, Oregon. I don't know how to say it other than, just kind of doing A&M and Oregon things.
If Oregon was like in Kansas, people would hate them with so much more just real passion than they do now. It's like, they're out on the West Coast. Who cares? Like, it seems like Oregon just cleans up this time of the year. And I think, the reasons out there are probably pretty obvious.
Well, that's why Jeremiah Cradell was such a huge win back in the day. Because Oregon usually closes like a freight train. And there's, like you said, it's not rocket science figuring out why, especially now. Because, again, I'm not even, I know the way I said that comes off bad. Guys, we've said it over and over again. It's legal, man. Do what you do. Like, I'm not judging anybody. Like, it's part of the game. If you don't want to play, then that's on you. But Oregon, in so many more than any school that's not in the SEC, save Clemson, operates like an SEC program. Yeah. Like they are about winning. They don't really care what it looks like. They don't care what you think of them. They want to win, and that's what takes priority over everything else.
It's impressive. I like it. Hats off to them.
Looking ahead to this weekend, we know last weekend was the banquet, brought a lot of commits in, the McCullough boys. What's the vibe you're getting from what this weekend's supposed to be about?
Again, I think it's going to be the one that I know is Marcus Strong, the defensive lineman from Florida. I think Oklahoma's in great shape there. I need to check back with Marcus Strong, but unless Oklahoma suddenly feels like they're going to get David Hicks, I don't know how in the world they'd say no to a 6'5", 280 guy that can move like Marcus Strong can. So I think he's in. To me, he's in even if David Hicks is in, because you just need big bodies that are athletic like that. But there is a chance of we talked about Micah Tease and Chance Fitzgerald. Wouldn't shock me if both of those guys came in, one or the other. I think that's all in play. And then I think you're going to see some portal guys. Like I'm kind of keeping an eye on Jeremiah Byers, the UTEP offensive lineman that I know has had some interest, went down to Florida State last weekend. I think it was a big win for OU and a couple other schools that he didn't commit while he was there. We saw Jaheim Bell committed. Florida State had a good opening weekend with the portal. And guys, that's the thing you're seeing more than anything else right now in the portal. Be the first visit, because most of these guys, they take one or two visits and it's done. So don't fart around. Try to be the last one. Most of these guys have done it, man. They don't need to do all the recruiting stuff. They want to see that you got your ducks in a row. They're going to get taken care of with NIL, and there's a position for them on the field. Like it's not that complicated. So I think that's going to be big. And like I said, there's a chance that Jeremiah Byers comes in. I'm hoping to have a more complete list by Friday, obviously, but I would expect at least, a handful of portal guys this weekend.
All right. Everybody satisfied with that? I want to talk about the basketball stuff, but
yeah, we'll get to basketball. Your boy has done it again. Out of the NIL
Miami
considerations.
John
South
Ruiz?
Carolina quarterback Spencer Rattler has yet to make a decision on his NFL future. But in the meantime, he's cashing in major on his major NIL brand. He has inked a partnership with Dick Dyer Mercedes-Benz. He's back in the car game. He doesn't have enough cars. I respect the move.
Oh my God.
He has
like Mercedes and then announced.
He has like 3 or 4 cars in front of his house at all times. He has to.
He needs to be doing like Rolex deals, something that holds their value.
It's a pretty sweet Mercedes, though. I will say that.
Yeah, that is an upgrade from. I'm sorry. I mean, Dodge Chargers are cool and all, and so are trucks. But you get a Mercedes, you get a Mercedes.
Yeah.
I don't get. And I want to say this. I have 2 Dodge Chrysler Jeep vehicles in my under my garage. So this is no diss at the maker. I don't understand the Dodge Charger fascination. Like, I don't get it. Like, I don't know why that's such a popular car. It never makes sense to me.
It's kind of, to me, a little like, this is where we get into offending people because they have, cars or whatever. But like, the Challenger to me is the most popular one. Like, you look, a lot of football players drive Challengers, and I remember Pat Fields, his Challenger was so beat up he had wrecked it somehow. It's kind of like Eddie Jr. driving around a car with stuff hanging off of it.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, just big dents in them. Every car you've ever had has had a big giant dent.
The new one will not. Until I put one in.
But no, I don't. I mean, like the Demons and the Hellcats and all that stuff. I think that's what people get fascinated with. Just you have a very large engine in them, and they're not extravagant cars. They're built around an engine, basically.
I like the Challengers and those Hellcats. Like that will, if you're sitting next to one of those, like just idling, it will vibrate your car. Like it is. Those are serious meat wagons.
Yeah, no doubt about it. But he got a truck and a Charger, I think, from Fowler.
When he was here.
Right. Okay.
And from what I was told, he got the cars because.
Do you keep those?
Well, the car dealers, from what I'm told, like NIL, like there's too much liability for them to just give them a lease on a car. So they just have to give him the car.
Wow.
That's amazing. So you could
like Jocelyn Allo, she just got that Toyota Range Rover, whatever, or Range Runner. Is that what those are called? Ridge? I don't know.
Would you be able to so if they just give you that car and you drove it for the semester or whatever, but you kept the car, could you just sell it?
Sell it? Yeah, turn around and sell that
it's
sucker?
your car, yeah.
It's amazing.
I mean, he probably sold those cars that Fowler gave him before he left.
I have no idea. I guess, yeah. If he owns them, might as well. Or I guess you could drive it around until you get some out there. Yeah. That's amazing.
And I mean,
God bless this country.
Ewers get a big truck when he was at Ohio State?
I don't remember.
Like one of those big, like $90,000 jacked up.
He comes from South Lake. It's not like he's probably.
But I'm saying a dealer, I think, gave him a truck.
Sure. I don't know. That's amazing.
But the thing, like, I had someone call me the other day asking, like, "Hey, do you know any football players that would be good to represent our?" Well, that's what they're kind of doing to represent, a car dealer. And I was like, "Oh, I'll get back to you." So I mean, I saw the commercial with Jalil Farouk and Gilliam and who was the other guy on that? It was all the DC guys because they're all they had a firm you could tell like that repped them. That got them all deals local. I think it was Kia. Is it
Kia?
I think it's Khalidi Kia.
Is it Khalidi? I thought it might have been one of the guys out of Purcell or something. I don't know. It
was a slick commercial.
I watch commercials and then I don't even know what they are. Like I don't take in the information. I
just know I got a press release from Khalidi Kia about sponsoring OU players.
Okay.
I think it was
maybe it was then.
So I don't know how we got off of that tangent, but no, but
Spencer Rattler.
Oh yeah, Spencer Rattler, yeah. So he got a car without saying that he was even going to be there next year.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Now he got it. Now he can announce.
What's going on at South Carolina? Like it
just
seems
strange
like people
for all that momentum.
Beamer's just like losing guys left and right, and it doesn't make any sense. I mean,
yeah, who did they lose recently? A linebacker, maybe.
They lost the running back.
The running back, Lloyd.
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
Marshawn Lloyd.
He's really good.
Yep.
Huh.
Yeah.
They lost their tight ends, Bell and Stogner.
Stogner needs to give Lloyd a shout for OU. Wonder if they were boys.
Yeah, think about what that could mean to that running back room. Just having a guy with that kind of. Yeah.
But have you checked, Bob? Has there been any follows by the coaching staff with him?
I've been checking Brent, and Brent's been very busy with underclassmen. He hasn't done as many transfer follows this week compared to he was hitting it hard last week. Not so much through the first part of this one.
I don't know what Lloyd's seems like his Twitter handle was kind of one of those all over the place things. Trying to see what DeMarco's followed lately. Investigation on the pod.
Late breaking news. We need a little teletype.
He's only following 348 people. I don't see him unless he's been following him for a long time.
No.
I love those guys. Like, I love the people that only follow so many, because you can tell, like, if they follow someone, it means something. Like, it's not
Let's
just.
see.
What? He follows me?
Who does?
DeMarco?
Huh.
No.
Name drop.
He doesn't follow. No, he didn't follow me. I don't know. Okay, sorry. So the basketball thing, I put that up on the board. Bob, I thought it was interesting because the first year, I don't know if you asked him or somebody asked Porter, but he was kind of like, we need a new arena.
You asked him. It was you, Bob.
He was fired up about it. He's like, wait for the off season, and we never got around to that off season. And that's why I would love to ask him even this week. He's not wired like that to go big picture. He wants to talk about the opponent only, or what his guys are doing
during the season,
or what his guys are doing to get better. It's obviously a fantastic issue for him to address, and you kind of need to know what he thinks too. But I don't know if he'll do that during the season.
Well, and so what happened was the city of Norman.
You don't want to ask him about a job he interviewed for 25 years ago or something?
Who did that?
That's a little inside joke.
Who did that?
One of the student reporters.
Oh, okay.
Which was fine, but it was like at the beginning of the week, and they had a game in between. He's like, I'll come back and answer it.
Yeah, he asked him
at the end of the
Monday
week.
when they played Kansas City Tuesday.
It was before the Arkansas, because he interviewed for the Arkansas job when he was at Little Rock.
Oh, okay.
Just a little fun. We're having a goof.
So what's happening is they had this kind of idea earlier, and it didn't end up going anywhere.
Was it 3, 4, 5 years ago?
Yeah, it was. It would have been like right after Trae Young.
It was right in the height of Trae.
Yeah. But so what it is University North Park is the new kind of shopping place. It's on 24th or 36th? 24th. 24th between Robinson and Tecumseh. And it's all that area. That's like where the big Target is now. And a lot of stuff has moved over there.
Let's put a hideaway there instead of Zio's.
Yeah. I saw
like
that the other day.
So, you don't have to come to Campus Corner, just go to Hideaway in Norman anymore. And so they're building all this stuff out there, and there's also Rock Creek, which is between Tecumseh and Robinson, but you can't get off the highway on Tecumseh. It's just a bridge over the highway. So it would be that area just north of Rock Creek that is vacant right now.
I think there's some apartments that have been built to the east
right,
of
over
where that would be.
The other side.
It's really
there's some
easy to see.
Like Caleb Williams lived over there.
Rock Creek
City Road,
on.
yeah.
Like
that's where that was?
Uh-huh. It's north of Rock Creek, further south of Tecumseh, but they would build like an entertainment district with an arena attached to it, and so they brought it in, they brought it up, and that was when there was a bunch of political BS going on in Norman between the mayor and a couple of a different group, and it all just kind of became a big stupid political war, and it just ended. Well, now OU and the city have gotten together, which the city wasn't involved the first time around, and the OU Foundation is involved. The Chamber of Commerce for Norman is involved, and they're right now doing surveys, with season ticket holders, with other people, mainly season ticket holders, sending out saying, would you be in favor of this type of arrangement? And so they're just getting the survey to find out what fans would want. What they would be interested in, what they would want to see. Even would they rather just renovate, Lloyd Noble Center?
There's nothing being done to Lloyd Noble. Like the stuff that happened at the Board of Regents, it's more about like practice facilities stuff.
And
nothing,
the women specifically, right?
It's not anything at all about the actual arena. Wanted to clear that up.
And so, they're going to take in all this information. And how it gets paid for, who pays for it, is it private and and public? We don't know, and OU doesn't know. They're just trying to gather information. but it is a launch to do something arena-wise that they feel is feasible going in. And you know what? If the fans come back and the survey comes back and says, we don't want something off campus, we want you to renovate Lloyd Noble, they'll come back and say, okay, we'll put together the plan. And they've got a master plan for Lloyd Noble already, but they'll announce that and say, we're going to put together a campaign to renovate Lloyd Noble.
Eddie, do we need to put to bed McCaslin?
Yes, please do.
Yeah, I mean, I've actually had a couple conversations with people, and it wouldn't be able to be a permanent home unless you're going to dip millions and millions of dollars into the facility because the building's so old. I know that they've had scrimmages there in the past for basketball, and
they played games there.
Yeah, like as cool as it is.
Buddy was here. They played a game there.
Yeah, I think it was a scrimmage against like OCCC or not OCCC, but not Oklahoma Christian. It was one of the Oklahoma city schools.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah,
small college stuff, but like you can't. I think they only had like 4,000 people there. Like you can't, as low as the attendance is over at the Lloyd Noble Center, you can still get more people over there than you would inside of McCaslin, and it's just not feasible for them to be able to make that a permanent home. I think it'd be cool to play a couple games over there every once in a while. Maybe do some type of like throwback game over there. I think that would be cool. Maybe even limit attendance to students only or something. I know that there's some schools that have done that before. It's just not – it wouldn't be good for the program to move all of your home games over to McCaslin Fieldhouse. That's why I think like this University North Park thing, not only would OU's basketball program, both men and women benefit from it, but the city of Norwood would benefit from it. You could have tournaments over there. You could have state tournaments over there, state championship games. It could be the permanent home for the OSSAA as far as basketball, maybe even volleyball over there as well. So I think it's a win-win.
Here's the thing. There's all kinds of arguments about it. Like people are like, oh, we don't have money for that. We need to spend money on other things. Like if you build an entertainment district, though, that's going to be generating more money and more taxes.
It seems like a no-brainer to me, but then again, I thought it was a no-brainer the first time around.
Right, and it didn't even come close to gaining
it wasn't.
traction.
No, there were not people interested in it. Hopefully, people realize that something needs to be done. They can't continue playing at the Lloyd Noble Center. It is. I'm kind of done with it. Like after last Tuesday night against Kansas City,
that was rough.
That was kind of a low point, I thought, just as far as the atmosphere.
You just wait till Saturday.
It really
wait till Saturday.
It really hit in the stomach. Like this is not a good option. And I think that like even more so now watching college basketball and seeing what they're doing down in Austin and at the Moody Center. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's awesome. It is an awesome facility, and the best part about it is you don't have to build a 15,000 seat arena anymore. No. That's the new wave is what Texas and Baylor have done.
I think.
And they renovated their facility inside.
Was it a renovation?
That was
a full ground up?
It was a full renovation inside their old facility, I believe. I think. I think that they just gutted it. And you could maybe do that at Lloyd Noble. I like the entertainment aspect of it from like restaurants and bars being around it. And, the other thing is I've talked to a lot of people that they have kids Tuesday night driving all the way down to Highway 9 to get off to go to the Lloyd Noble Center.
And it's the Highway 9 thing.
It's a bitch.
Is Highway 9.
It is a bitch to get over there. If you had something right off the highway, more in Oklahoma City, like the drive from Oklahoma City to Norman nowadays, that's basically one big city. Like it has a little bit of a Frisco vibe.
You don't know when you're in South Oklahoma City versus
like
in
you used to be able to go like, okay, I'm in South Oklahoma City. Okay, I'm in Moore. Okay, I'm in Norman. And it's all kind of blended together. And it's for the better. Obviously, there's more people that are coming down. I think that they would get a bunch of foot traffic for people coming in that want to get that trip into North Norman and not have to go all the way. I mean, you're talking about 15, 20 minutes, and with kids and stuff, like sometimes you just don't want to mess with it.
There's a lot of things like, on campus that I get kind of nostalgic, like it's not here anymore. Mm-hmm. I will never say, man, I miss the Lloyd Noble Center. Like I will never say, and I will never
I'll miss
say
the times in there.
And I will never say, man, I miss the nostalgia of the West Side stands and the football.
Sure.
I'll never say that.
Sure. Oh, and here's the other thing. Like everybody wants it on campus, and they use the Lloyd Noble Center as, I guess, an example in a way. Like Lloyd Noble Center is not anywhere near campus. Let's not act like it is on campus.
It's slightly connected.
It's on campus, but it's still a bitch to get over there. I think that a new arena would bring some excitement from people that, if nothing else, they just want to go see it. And maybe you start playing better, and obviously we can get to the on-court stuff, but you're going to have a reason to get down there.
That'd give you something even over like Chesapeake, or now it's Paycom, but like there's not bars built, specifically around Paycom. I mean, you have to walk a little bit.
Not yet.
When they redo the new one.
I think that, but yeah, sure. If they don't build the new one, though, I think that there's
Fred Jones parking lot
entertainment district that's going to be built around that area as well.
Would bring the McQuistron family to Norman for basketball.
No, that's not happening.
Probably not. I think he's
no.
Just making sure you were still there.
Yeah, no, it was a status check. No, I hear you.
I think it's a no-brainer, though. I really do.
I mean, the problem is they need a new arena, and it's so far down on the list of priorities. Yes. It always has been. It's got pushed to the back burner, and
people
now
want
you're getting
softball. Bingo.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, they built 2 softball stadiums since LNC was renovated. I mean, it's never going to get done if you don't do it now. Yeah. If you can get and that's why OU's got the city involved, is they want a partner to help them get this done because they can't get it done.
And I think it's smart. I think it's smart to get the city involved because Norman, and especially if they really want to push that North Park area, it could really benefit from having something up that way.
And, I mean, it is, I think for small businesses, growing businesses, like Norman's a tough community for people to live in. Like it's growing, but like housing is getting more and more expensive. Like my house is like almost a third more valuable than when I bought it. And that's like in 15 years. Yep. Like it's the housing prices are way up. Like you just can't, when we have people, we've had people come in here and search for apartments and stuff. Like even finding an apartment in Norman is a nightmare, and it's super expensive. And like you look over here on campus, have you seen what they're doing on Boyd? Like those giant ass town right before the railroad tracks.
Yeah, like everything. If you haven't been to Norman in
they're
the last
building
15,
these 2
20
giant
years.
townhouses.
Yep.
And it's got this. It looks like the little up house.
Yeah,
like in between it now, and it was just a recently refurbished deal.
Everything
on campus is
everything basically northeast of Campus Corner now has turned into the most untapped housing market.
Yeah. Just go down Jenkins.
Condos and
rebuilt
homes.
And just keep going to downtown, and you realize, oh, God, this place is totally different now. If you haven't been here even 5 years.
2 years. Yeah. I don't think you would recognize some of the stuff that is even further northeast over by the train tracks.
Actually, the house that you lived in right over here.
It's going to hold strong.
It will be the up house.
It's going to hold strong. They're holding strong over there. It's like the house that was built in Detroit that they wouldn't sell when they rebuilt all the projects up there.
Right, yeah.
And it's just in the middle of this business district now. I think it's in Baltimore.
Have you seen the
Baltimore
movie
or
Up?
Detroit?
I don't think you've seen the movie Up.
That's exactly.
No, I have no idea.
First thing that was going through my head.
I have no idea what that is. I've heard of it.
Well, that's just the old man lives in the house. His wife dies, and he's.
I'm not selling.
Yeah. So. No, but we'll see.
Stephen Pickens would just run that thing over with a bulldozer
and just say, "Oops,
what
I'm
a
sorry."
hero!
Yeah. No, but we'll see where this goes. It's a survey as of now, but OU wants to pursue this. They're going to keep putting energy into this to see if they can get interest from the community. So we'll see where it goes. All right. It's been quite a pod today.
Yeah, good one.
Any on-the-court stuff? Oklahoma coming off of a 78-68 loss to 88-78 loss to Arkansas. They played well for a half. I thought the game turned when Sherfield came out with 4:52 in the first half. All of a sudden, they went up from up 5, I think, down 3 at half.
Yeah, and then Musselman talked about what they changed with their defense on Sherfield in the second half, and they just put him through the ringer. That was like the hardest 23 points you're going to see.
I think Arkansas is really
he had
good
to work for it, and now they know what elite looks like for this season.
Arkansas is there. It's going to be hard for me not to make a future bet on them to get to at least the Final Four. They're a really good team.
And so now Los brought it. Sherfield brought it. No one else did. So now okay, this is the level you have to play at to contend, to be at the highest of the highs, and what we're going to need you to get to throughout the next 1 to 2 months Obviously, like, I think they're a team that's going to play to their competition a lot, and that gets annoying and frustrating for fans. Like, Central Arkansas Saturday, I'm expecting that to be a dud. I'm expecting them to win, but to just kind of grind it out. And then they've got one more chance against Florida Tuesday in Charlotte to really move that needle. And you can't just always play close in these games. Eventually, you got to win some.
Yeah, that Arkansas game, that's kind of like watching like when Duke, their heyday, goes up, or North Carolina goes up against a small, not a small, but like a mid-major or something. Like, it just felt that way. Like,
let them hang around for the first half, and then okay, we're done here.
Man,
they took control that first 5 minutes of the second half, and you knew it just like OU doesn't have the firepower to get back in, and they're not going to have the defensive stands to get back in. Like, by the 14-minute mark, you knew, and it never got closer than 9 from the 14-minute mark on. Just a comfortable margin for the Hogs.
Yeah.
The entire way.
All right, Josh, you can wake up now. We're just about done.
You can get ready for the World Cup.
Yeah, ready for the World Cup, doing a little Christmas shopping while we're talking basketball. I'm getting it all done.
All right, Josh.
By the way, it was I don't know. I mean, we hadn't mentioned Mike Leach at all.
Sad, man.
I think it's
shocking.
It's such a weird thing because, like, I started covering the team like right after he left. Oh, okay. That first year I was just getting into my new job. I want to say when Bob was hired that spring, it was still just boomersooner.net. That was my life. And then I got hired by Sooners Illustrated, or bought out by Sooners Illustrated after that first year.
You were sharing a 2-bedroom with James Hale, right?
No.
I've misunderstood that. That's my fault.
No, that's never happened. And so then my first year was really the year after Leach left, so I didn't really get to know him. I will say this: I'm kind of glad of that, because he would have ruined me for all other coaches after.
Yes.
Just because he is just so hilarious and funny, and but just looking at his legacy and the coaches that spawned out of Texas, like
Morris getting hired yesterday.
Yeah, Morris got hired yesterday. I mean, but he's got an NFL coach in Cliff Kingsbury, even though he's not done well. But I mean, Dana Holgerson and Lincoln Riley and
the branches of his coaching tree are just
Harrell
incredible. Three of the top 5 Heisman vote getters this year are coached by disciples of Mike Leach, and Josh Heupel, Lincoln Riley, and who's the third one? I completely forgot.
Josh Heupel. Who are the?
Oh, Sonny Dykes.
Sonny Dykes.
Yeah.
My apologies to the Dykes faction.
Yeah, then Sonny Dykes, obviously a big part of that tree as well. But
sure.
I mean, just a guy that revolutionized the sport as much as anybody has in the history of college football.
Yeah, it's crazy.
When I heard the news Sunday, I almost thought it was just something really minor. Like, I didn't think it was going to...
When they said personal health issue,
okay, all right.
Well, it's one of those things that's like, oh my gosh, did he have a little heart attack? And, he's going to get some stents put in, and he'll be okay. Like, that's what you always hope for.
And then boom.
Yeah, I think as soon as, like, Sunday evening rolled around, and I can't remember who the guy was that was basically like, he's going to need a miracle. That was like, oh, shit. Like, this is insane. And for it to happen, and, I think Ross Dellinger pointed it out, too, for him to be the first acting head football coach that has died while still being the head coach, and it's still being within season in a way with the team getting ready for the bowl game. I don't know. It just seems like it's something that is so unusual. You're never really ready for something like that. Although the Randy Walker thing, I couldn't believe that it's been 16 years. I felt like that was like 8 years ago or something, that he died while the head coach over at Northwestern.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He was the last acting head coach
to
die while still being a head coach. It's crazy. But it is cool that, obviously all the stories on social media have been unbelievable. Dylan Buckingham actually showed me this morning that they showed last night on KFOR Sports video of they were at practice. The great Tim Money was at practice, him and Van Shea, the day that Mike Leach is informing Josh Heupel that he's going to leave to go to Tech in 99.
Oh, yeah.
Or in 2000. And the video is pretty cool. I retweeted it. It's just like, being at practice to see something like that is insane. and then just B, that they still had it. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I remember going to those spring practices and watching Josh Heupel throw it around, and I want to say that Jake Seals was still there for that spring.
King.
And you just watched Josh Heupel, and you were like, I don't know. I mean, it looks okay, I guess. Like, you just didn't know what to expect. And for him to be at Oklahoma for 1 year, I mean, think about that. Him to be at Oklahoma for 1 year and then to produce a national championship the next after he left, but to give Josh Heupel the reins, and he was as big a part of turning things around as anybody else was.
It says a lot about Mike Leach and just the impact that he had on people around here, too, especially considering he was only here for that 1 year.
Right.
Like, the way that he's revered, you would think that
5-10 years.
Yeah, sure.
Did you see George Stoya's tweet about that yesterday? That's just incredible.
About his dad being at practice.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So, like, his dad was at practice, and all the coaches, I remember this back in those days, they would run back, from the practice fields and they were practicing at the intramurals early, where they have summer camps and stuff. So the coaches would just run back to campus, and George Stoya's dad asked, like, do you want to ride? And Mike was like, yeah, I'll take a ride if you got one. And so, like, talked his ear off for an hour and went on to all this stuff and was telling him about, families should live in apartments, and it's good because he lives in this place that's got a pool and do laundry and other kids are running around. And so after an hour, he was like, well, it's great to meet you. I don't know if George's dad is named George, too. Yeah, it is, because he's George Stoya III, right? So
no, I think his dad's name is Sam, maybe. I don't know. I should probably know that.
I think his Twitter page says George Stoya III.
That's my fault, then.
You're the third. You third should stick together. So anyway, I guess George had called Mike about the story he was working on. I don't know if it was for the Denver. He covers the Broncos now. But at the end of the call, he said, hey, I know you're probably not going to remember this, but my dad gave you a ride home, from practice or you talked to my dad back in 1999 after a practice, and that was the end of it. And Mike Leach's response was something like, tell your dad thanks for the ride, or something like that. Like,
there's been some
confirming
just
he
incredible stories from and the thing about it is every one of them's true. Like, you know what I mean?
Like, and the thing,
every one of them, there is none.
We had Bob on this morning. I actually got off of vacation because I texted with Bob yesterday. He's like, hey, you want me to come on the show? I was like, well, I'm on vacation, but I'll jump on with you.
Just a backup, bud.
I'm on vacation, man.
No, but so I was on, and I was telling him this story. Like, I'll give Lincoln Riley some credit. He had some great Mike Leach stories, but you guys probably remember this one. He was talking about they were sitting in their room and they worked. He had a desk in his Mike Leach's office, I guess.
Yeah.
And so the phone rings and Mike Leach picks it up and they get into this really long conversation. He can remember some of the things that were being said. I can't now. But talked to the guy for about 30 minutes and he's like, well, it was great talking to you. Hope everything goes well and you be well or something.
Well,
and
no,
he hung up the phone and then
they got disconnected.
Or they got
disconnected.
Or was that it?
Yeah.
And then he called him back, right?
He calls him back, yeah. Talks for like 20 more minutes.
Yeah, and then he finally hangs up, and Lincoln goes, "Who was that?" He goes, "I don't know, wrong number."
Yeah. He called back the wrong number and talked to him for 50 minutes. It's unbelievable. Only Mike Leach.
That's the guy following the raccoon into the woods to see where he'd go. That kind of crap. Like,
just completely bizarre.
Did you see Rob Cassidy's tweet about his interaction with Mike? I thought that was amazing.
I didn't see that.
No, I didn't.
So he was talking about this podcast that he used to have with Woody Womack, and it was a couple other guys that were all on it, and they had Leach on one time. And so after it's over, they're just kind of BSing with Leach a little bit, and he mentions that he's going to Key West, with his family or something. And Mike goes, oh, okay, you got to go to this place, this place, this place. And he said he also calls the bartender at one of the places and is like, hey, this guy Rob Cassidy's coming down. Rob said he paid for almost nothing on the whole trip.
Holy shit.
That's amazing.
That's amazing.
It's like, who does that?
It was somewhere in Key West?
Yeah. So, because I mean, I know I was listening to Andy Staples' podcast, and he was talking about being down like one night he spent with Mike in Key West, and apparently it got pretty interesting. They shut down the bars kind of thing.
Yeah.
And
I think Captain Tony's was his place down there.
Yeah,
that's where they had he has his own bench or his own stool and stuff.
Because, I mean, like, how many coaches in college football would let a media guy, especially a guy with a huge microphone like Andy Staples, see them like that?
Yeah.
Like, see them in their element. Like, he didn't, he was generally just, like, the human experience interested Mike Leach. And I always thought that was really cool about him.
Yeah, and that the whole way that everything ended at Tech, I mean, that was just, like, it's so terrible. I mean, with everything that he's done and, I mean.
I don't necessarily think, I could be wrong, but, I don't think Tech fans ever hated him. It was just him.
No, it was him in the administration.
In the front office.
Yeah,
right. Yeah, the administration.
And some of the donors. But, yeah, the administration just couldn't stand him. I mean, they got to and it was the whole.
I could see how that attitude. And
Adam, what's his name?
James.
Yeah. But, whose father allegedly killed some prostitutes, right?
Well, did you see that he signed that guy's.
Happened today? Like a successful coach versus an administrator, the administrator loses every time in today's world, right?
Mm-hmm. It just shows you that it was administration wide. Like when it happens to where you alienate your entire administration and president probably as well, like that's how that happens. By the way, did you see that someone showed that they had a signed book, the Swing Your Sword book from Mike Leach, and it said GJK5H on it.
Yeah, what did that mean?
Greg James killed 5 hookers. Or CJ. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Because I saw that some people down in TCU had printed shirts with that.
Oh, really?
And I was like, I have
Craig
no
James
idea what that
killed
means.
5 hookers, yeah.
That's beautiful. That is beautiful.
But I guess he would sign some of his books that way.
He's unbelievable.
Amazing.
The Blake Lawrence story that he tweeted out was pretty good. Do you remember him? The quarterback? Was it a quarterback? I guess he was 20. God, he would have been maybe 2000. What year would Leach have been down there from?
2007 is what I'm seeing. Is
for Blake Lawrence?
Yeah.
Okay.
That name's.
I think he ended up signing with Nebraska.
Uh-huh.
He did. I'm looking at his page right now.
But he had like a 8 or 9 tweet thread just about his first time he met him and on his recruiting visit. Like he walks into Leach's office and Leach is just sitting there, doesn't say anything to him, makes him do it. He's like, Blake, you want to do a magic trick? And he separates all the cards from red to black. And he's like, if you pick this right and all the cards are red and all the cards are black, you have to commit to Texas Tech. Uh-huh. And of course, he goes through the magic trick. He does it. Some are all black, some are all red, and it was a beautiful story. I'll try to link it in the thread. I think that. Are we ready to go?
Yeah. Someone just walked in the office, so I guess it's a good time to end it.
Lincoln Riley is here. Hey, Lincoln.
All right,
mule shoe.
That is going to do it for this week's episode of the Unofficial 40 Podcast. We'll be back again next week for another edition, I just said it, of the Unofficial 40 Podcast right here on sweepstakes.com.